Welcome to a new video! Today I'm going to share with you my Shark deck profile. Now Sharks is a really simple deck for its idea. It's basically a water rank 4 toolbox deck. It's very fun, it's very straightforward, and it's just very cool. The entire idea of the deck is just open up with a good normal summon and a good extender, and you'll be able to maybe do something, which is very nice. But before we jump right into the video itself, I'm going to remind you that if you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It helps a lot. You have no idea how much. Let me know in the comments down below what will you change in your list, because there are some particular things that I run in my list that might not be in yours. And of course, give a like to the video if you enjoyed. But without further ado, let's jump right into the list itself. Alright, so jumping into the deck list itself, we're going to start things off with our, well, Shark monsters. And we're going to start things with our 3 copies of Abyss Shark. Abyss Shark is an amazing card that if you control a water monster, it's free special summon out of your hand, and you're able to search a level 3, 4, or 5 fish monster, except another copy of itself, as well as the fact that this card does lock you into water monsters and can be used as a Xyz material for level 3 and 4 number monsters as well, or should I say can treat itself as a level 3 or 4 for the summon of a number monster. This card is just incredible. It's just a free special summon, a search on top of that. It's just all you need. Like I said, it is locking you into water, so it does sometimes crash with, or should I say clash with your F-Zero Draconic Future, whatever that is, but it's still very good, and you just want to run 3 off of this card 100%. Then for our next 3 off card, which is our best starter of the deck, we're running 3 copies of Buzzsaw Shark. This card is just incredible normal summon. This card allowing you to target any water monster on the field, including itself, and then special summon a fish monster with the same level as that monster but a different name. It cannot activate its effect this turn. So this card can summon, for example, a copy of Silent Angler from your deck, can summon a copy of Lifeless Leafish, can summon just many things out of your deck, and it's just really good. It does lock you in for Xyz summon for the rest of the turn, which you don't really care about it, except from like one monster in our extra deck that we can just like special summon before. But the point is, you just use this, it's your best starter, and also if you use it for the Xyz summon of a water monster, you're also able to treat this as a level 3 and a level 5, which is pretty good. But again, just treat it as a level 4, that's mostly what you're going to do. As for our last 3 off monster, we're running 3 copies of Silent Angler. This card is incredible. It's just basically a free special summon out of your hand as well. It does lock you for not special summoning for the rest of the turn from your hand, but it's still a very incredible card. It's just giving you the ability to just like have the one additional extender that you need, and again, it works really well with your revival spell White Mirror, because you're able to just like special summon this out of the graveyard, just in general if you don't have like a Buzzsaw Shark to summon from the grave, and then just still get another copy to the hand that you're able to special summon and still make a rank 4, which is really good. And then for our 2-offs, unfortunately, one of the cards from the 2-offs and the 1-offs unfortunately have to proxy because of reasons, but for our first card, we're running 2 copies of Lifeless Leafish, we're also running 2 copies of Silent Nattle, and the 2 copies of Shatana. These 2 particular cards, or should I say 3 particular cards, are very good in the deck. Shatana, if you control no effect monsters, that include if you if you even have rare fish on the field, it's not an effect monster, it's a non-effect fusion monster, so you're able to special summon this out of your hand. Basically, it's a free special summon, it's really good, and it's just really helpful. It's a card that you want to summon at the start of your turn, because otherwise you're just not be able to special summon it, but I do think you only need 2 of this card, because at 3 I feel it's just too cloggy. Same idea with Silent Nattle. I only like to summon 2 of the, like to play 2 of this, not 3. I think 3 is too cloggy. And this card specifically, if you control a water monster, it's just like Abyss Shark, a free special summon, and lock you into water. But unlike Abyss Shark, when it is in the graveyard, you're able to banish it, and then basically shuffle up to 3 water monsters in your graveyard, and that's it. It doesn't draw you a card, but it's still giving you the ability to maybe continue grind playing if you have something like Desires that just banish the top cards of your deck, and you just need the ability to just shuffle some key components cards back into your deck. That's just giving you the ability to do that. As for Lifeless Leafish, this is the card that I specifically forgot to order because I kind of just decided not to play Bountiful Princess at the end, and I essentially forgot this card is a card that I need, as well as Right Hand Shark, which we'll get to that. But the point is, this card I like more than Bountiful Princess. This card is so much better than Bountiful Princess for application. Now, granted, Bountiful Princess is definitely better as an overall effect, but this is better for this deck than it, because Bountiful Princess gets itself off the field. It's not like an effect that you use during the main phase. It's an effect on normal or special summon by Bountiful Princess. If it gets itself off the field and you don't have a card that, special summon itself, even if you control a monster that is a water monster and doesn't lock you from your hand in anything, you're basically kind of dead. Because the problem with Bountiful Princess is that if you don't have enough water, the problem with that is that if you lose your water, a lot of your cards are dead and you're not able to do anything. For example, Silent Nettle, Abyss Shark, and so on and so forth. So I felt like Lifeless Leafish is better because of the fact that it's, even if it's get negated, it still leave a level 4 water on the field. And it's also just have a nice effect in grave to banish itself, shovel 3 fish, including your rare fish in the extra deck, which is really good to make your ready fusion and instant fusion always live, and essentially just draw a card, which is pretty cool. And it's also on normal summon, and special summon, it's able to send any water, or should I say fish monster from your deck to the graveyard, which most of the time going to be Crystal Shark. And this is still one card combo, number 4 Stealth Kraken, because you're sending Crystal Shark to the graveyard, special summoning it, and making the rank 4. So yeah, I think this is a little bit better due to the fact that this is a level 4 water that stays on the field. But of course, if you like the Bountiful Princess, and you think she's better, go with her specifically. I just think Leafish is just a lot better in my opinion. As for the one-offs, one about Crystal Shark that we talked about a little bit, one Lantern Shark, which is an arguable card that you can cut and run something else instead, one copy of Xyz Remora, and then the one copy of our lovely card that I mentioned that I still have to proxy again, which is Right Hand Shark. Right Hand Shark is a free special summon from the graveyard if you control no monsters. Just no monsters, not even including maybe, or you control water monsters, just no monsters. And you also have the ability to just, basically, just, how should I say this, protect your number monsters from destruction by battle if you choose an Xyz material. Mostly people love this card because of you can just make a Crooked Cook that is absolutely invincible, unless of course your opponent playing a tribute effect. I don't know, what is its name? Gamma Seal. So this card is just absolutely incredible for that, but mostly we don't really play that for the time being. If Totally Awesome will get banned, maybe I'm going to go that route, but for the time being, you don't really need it. You don't need it as a win condition, and it's just a good one-off extender. As for Xyz Remora, it's just also a good one-off extender because its effect is really incredible, but it's also not always easy to just essentially use. Not to mention the fact that summoning 3 monsters is good, but it's also very awkward because it's basically 1.5 rank for water monster. So the ability to touch 2 materials from water monsters and then special summon it out of the hand, and then also just summon 2 fish level 4s from your graveyard is pretty incredible, and it's giving you some really nice tempo. But just like I mentioned, it's just really not that easy to use sometimes. And sometimes it's just it's 1.5 rank 4, and if you don't have another level 4 in hand that you can special summon, it's just oh hey, I summoned another fish monster that I'm not able to do anything with it. It's just a good one-off to be searchable by Abyss Shark. As for Lantern Shark, it's just a card that you can just basically, when normal special summon, able to special summon a level 3, 4, or 5 water monster from your hand in defense position, except another copy of itself, but we don't care because we only run 1. And then it basically have the same effects as Buzzsaw Shark, which is locking you to Xyz, and can be used at level 3 or 5 for a water Xyz monster. Just a good one-off. You could cut it down, but I think just a good one-off free special summon out of your hand. Crystal Shark is the special summon out of your graveyard by, targeting a water monster, huffing an attack, any water monster, I believe also your opponent's, special summon it, and essentially banish the one that leaves the field, but it doesn't really matter, you're just going to use it for a rank 4. It's also locking you for Xyz monster for the rest of the turn, but just like Abyss Shark, can only be treated as level 3 and level 4 if you use it for an Xyz summon of a number monster. So, an incredible card as well, and just a good one-off. I might consider bumping it up to 2 because it's so good, but like I mentioned, again, this is just a good, just like a card like Abyss Shark. You can only use this for a rank 3 and a rank 4 if you're trying to summon a number of monsters. So, Stealth Kraken is basically one of the only cards that you use it for, or another card which we'll get to when we get to the extra deck. But that does it for your, shark monsters. Now we'll move on into our hand traps. For our hand traps is basically up to you. We're running 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Ghost Ogre, or should I say 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and 2 copies of DD Crow. Honestly, just up to you what you want to run in your hand traps. Ash Blossom is absolutely incredible this format. Ghost Ogre is also really, really good against some certain cards, and it's also just a little bit better right now. And of course, DD Crow to just banish some key cards from the graveyard. Now, of course, you can also play Effect Veiler instead of this, or also play Ghost Bell if you prefer that, or anything that you feel that is better, but I think for me specifically, this is the hand trap lineup that works for me. But that does it for our monster lineup. Now we'll move on into our spells. And for our spells, the first spell I want to talk about is the Monster Reborn of the archetype, or should I say the type, I guess, which is 3 copies of White Mirror. White Mirror is basically a Monster Reborn for fish monsters level 4 or lower, and then on top of that, you're also able to search a fish monster with the same name, original name. So for example, let's say I have Silent Angler engraved, I'm able to revive it, and then I'm also able to search another copy of Silent Angler, which is really, really good. Now, one thing I would say is that sometimes it's a little bit too much at 3, but I sometimes want to see this in my hand with my Buzzsaw Shark as a 1 card, or should I say 2 card combo to see 2 Totally Awesomes and a Draco Future, which is an incredible combo. But mostly sometimes I just want to cut this as to a 2-off and then playing another copy of Monster Reborn just because it's 100 once per turn. But for the most card, absolutely incredible card, and it's just really, 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 really good. As for the rest of our spells, 2 copies of Pot Desires, 2 copies of Ready Fusion, 1 copy of Instant Fusion, 1 copy of Foolish Burial, 1 copy of Cold Grave, and 1 copy of Cosmic Cyclone to run off the spells. I don't think I need to explain these that much, but Cosmic Cyclone, back row removal, Cold Grave to deal with annoying hand traps, not back row decks. This is back row decks, this is with hand traps if you draw into these. I might consider maybe bumping this up to 2, but I'm not 100% sure. Foolish Burial to send Crystal Shock or right-hand shark if you need to the graveyard. Instant Fusion because this and this together, like I want to have multiple options in case that like I'm using one, able to shuffle the rare fish back into the extra deck and then just use the other to special summon it again. Basically have just more than 1 activation in a turn just in case. Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion just here to summon rare fish. That's their entire function. And then Pot Desires is just a really, really good card in this deck. You don't really need to run, or should say, you don't really need to worry about banishing cards because the entire idea is just opening up your good cards, which are 3-offs anyway, and then just like open up with like a good extender and just a decent starter, and there you go, and you're still able to play. So Pot of Desire is just incredible, being able to just draw into 1 additional copy of a card and just banishing cards that you don't really care for the most part is just very, very good. I'm probably not going to play this card at 3 if it comes back to 3, but I think 2 is just the perfect number. You see it, but you don't see it too much. And then for our last card, which is our trap, obviously, you know me, 3 copies of Infinite Permanence. I don't really think I need to explain this one. This is just a really, really excellent hand trap. Being able to negate monster effect, and always, you love to put it in the middle lane, because nobody really plays around the Imperm column, because people just always forget that this is just a thing, and just always extra hilarious. But that does it for our main deck. Now we'll move on into our extra deck. And for our extra deck, we're going to start with our 2-offs first. We're going to start with our 2 copies of Stealth Kraken, 2 copies of Kraken Spawn, 2 copies of Bahamut Shark, and of course the 2 copies of Totally Awesome to round off our 2-offs in the extra deck. Now, I'm going to say this right now. If this cards get banned, I would not say it's the end of the world because we're probably just going to play 3-off Krakens. That's kind of going to be our thing. But I would say that it's going to be a little bit annoying because, how should I say this? Our extra deck is just going to change like really drastically because we're going to cut all of these and the Draco Future probably. But, you know, who knows? I doubt that this card is going to get banned in this ban list because I feel they want to sell Sprite still, so this card probably is kind of safe. Don't catch me by my word. If they ban this, cool, that's okay. But I feel like it's just not going to get banned this ban list because they want to sell the Sprites a little bit more, so probably this card is a little bit safe. I'm just not really 100% sure. Anyway, Totally Awesome is basically an Omni-Negate and also an incredible card that you can just recycle it back into your extra deck, but it can also be used as a card that when it's sent to the graveyard, recover for you a water monster, which is giving you the ability to maybe get enough monsters to just continue off and play incredible things in turn 3. So this card is just very, very good for that. Bahamut Shark is just the card that's summoned out of the extra deck. Doesn't really need to explain this that much. Kraken Spawn and Stealth Kraken are just really, really good. You can get away with only playing one Stealth Kraken and 2 Kraken Spawns because Stealth Kraken, when it dies, it summons 2 Stealth Krakens because we have 2 materials on it. It will summon the 2 Kraken Spawns, and then the Kraken Spawns will have 1 materials each because of its effect. It's only summoning them from the extra deck, which is a little bit of annoying, but it is what it is. And then these 2 cards can also just, when they die, summon a Stealth Kraken out of the graveyard. So, you do play 2 copies of Stealth Kraken just because it's a good card, but in generally, if you don't want to play the second copy of Stealth Kraken, you can get away with playing 1 Stealth Kraken and 2 Kraken Spawns. It's just really good to have the second one just in case. But basically, these cards are just destroyers of water monsters on the field. If you have Stealth Kraken, it's basically making all your opponent monsters into water monsters, so it's always work. And in Kraken Spawn, unfortunately, your opponent need to, you need to have Stealth Kraken for activating its effect. But just in general, it just summon 2 monsters, and that's really, really good. So yeah, it's just very nice to have this particular engine. And then for the rest of our extra deck where it comes to Xyz monsters, before we jump into our lovely rare fish, which is a one-off, I guess, we have 1 copy of Silent Honor Arc and 1 copy of Nash Knight. Some people probably going to ask me, why do I run this engine? Well, I do love this engine a lot because A, I don't really have a whole lot of other ideas, and I do lock myself to waters a lot, and B, this is just an incredible card to just detach to, steal one of your opponent monsters, and attach this as material. And then, unfortunately, you cannot use the effect again unless, of course, you run another number monster. It's not like, what are called, Machinex in DDDs that you can just basically use the effect as, like, the other one being a Dark Contract and that's it. But it's still the ability to just detach 2, steal a monster, and then just, like, still have 2 materials or whatever is just really, really good. It's just a good card as it is. And then Silent Honor Arc, just a good rank 4 if I need to basically have another way to just use my Abyss Shark and my Crystal Shark to just make a rank 4. It's not a bad card, and like, just if you think about it, it's just still a really good card. It's just not as good as it used to be. But I might run another number name, but I feel like for the most part, that's all you need for the most part for this. So yeah, that's for that. And then for the rest, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Zeus, and then, of course, the Utopic package. I think you don't really need an explanation. You make this with 2 Bahamut Sharks, and then you go into this. Just pretty simple. Zeus is because Xyz decks, and Abyss Dweller is just a good, another rank 4 water monster. And honestly, water monsters, rank 4s that are good are a little bit scarce, but, well, Abyss Dweller is just a good card, so why not just play it anyway? And then for the last card that I mentioned before multiple times, 1 Rare Fish. This is just your normal water monster that you're able to summon with Ready Fusion and Instant Fusion, and like I mentioned, with Silent Nettle and with what are called the Leaf Fish, you're able to shuffle this back into your deck because it's a fish and a water, and you're able to just reuse this again, so your Ready Fusions and Instant Fusions are never dead. I did see some people who like to run 2 of this, but I think just 1 copy is more than enough. But that does it for the deck profile as an overall. Pretty simple, pretty forward. It's just a really, really fun deck, and I think it's just incredible. I wanted to a little bit over-explain because it's my first time doing this on the channel, but I might change things when we get into the future. Hopefully Toad will not get banned soon, but if it gets banned, we just need to configure new things in the extra deck, and I do have some few ideas. It just, I'm not 100% sure if those are still good ideas. But that's pretty much does it for deck list. Hope you enjoyed. Now let's move on into the next deck choices. Alright, so for our next deck choices, we have the 4 returning choices. Again, Mutants, Dual Avatar, Blue Eyes, and the last one that I want to put, because I haven't done them for a very, very long time, and I finally got the renewed support and everything I need for the most part, is Vampires. Vampires are really, really cool, and just got a pretty interesting wave of support in, I believe that was Battle of Chaos. And then in Dimension Force, we also got support for Zombie World, so it's essentially helped them being like a pretty cool deck. I'm not going to do the expensive Punk engine because Punk is absolutely incredibly expensive, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to order these in time because I was ordering them when there was cheap, but then my order got cancelled, and then I just lost my chance to get Punks when they were cheap. So that's a shame, but it is what it is. Anyway, if you want to see any of these 4 lists, let me know in the comments down below which one you want to see first. That's pretty much does it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new, or essentially just enjoy watching this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what do you think. Bye-bye.